We're always hearing these huge abstract numbers about economic growth. But what if those numbers could actually tell a story, a really powerful one? Well, today we're diving into one of the biggest transformations happening right now, a massive, massive drop in poverty in India. The latest data is, well, it's pretty remarkable, and we're going to unpack exactly how this is happening. Okay, just look at this. On the left, that's India's multidimensional poverty map from just a few years ago, 2015-16. See all that red and orange? That's where poverty levels were really high. Now, look at the map on the right. That's 2022-23. The whole country has just turned green. I mean, it's incredible. We're not talking about a slow, gradual change here. This is a dramatic, visual story of millions of people escaping poverty in less than a decade. So let's put some numbers to that amazing visual. We're talking about something called the Multidimensional Poverty Index, or MPI. And the word multidimensional is key here, because it's not just about money. It also looks at really crucial stuff like health, education, and basic living standards. The drop is just staggering. Back in 2005, over half the population was considered poor by this measure. And today, it's down to just over 11%. The sheer speed of this change is what makes it, well, a truly historic achievement. So you have to ask, right, what is driving this? A change this huge, this fast, it doesn't just happen by accident. It has to be the result of a deliberate strategy. And it turns out the analysis points to three core pillars, three big ideas that are powering this whole transformation. So let's break them down, one by one. All right, so the first piece of the puzzle starts out in the fields. I mean, with a huge chunk of the population depending on agriculture, you can see why transforming the rural economy was absolutely mission critical. But here's the thing, the strategy wasn't just about growing more stuff. It was about growing smarter. And what does growing smarter mean? Well, it's a huge strategic shift. Think about the old way. It was all about volume, right? Just pump in more fertilizer, more water, get more crops out. The new strategy? It's completely laser-focused on efficiency. Because let's be real, resources like land and water, they're not infinite. So the only way you can really grow is by getting more value, more yield from every single acre you've got. And you can see this shift playing out right here in the growth numbers. Okay, so traditional crops, they grew at a pretty respectable 3.5%, but that's not the real story. Look at the other sectors. Livestock grew more than twice as fast. And fisheries, I mean, wow, an 8.8% expansion. This isn't just random growth. It's a very clear move into activities that are worth more money. And this slide right here really brings that point home. For the first time ever, horticulture production, we're talking fruits, vegetables, flowers, has actually overtaken traditional food grains. That is a fundamental change in what Indian farms are producing. It's a clear step up the value chain, and that means more income for farmers. But smarter farming is just one piece of the puzzle. So, okay, farms are becoming more valuable. Great. But what about jobs in the villages themselves? Well, that brings us to the second major driver. And this was a complete reimagining of the rural employment guarantee. Basically, taking it from just a safety net for people in distress and turning it into a tool for building real, long-term wealth in the community. And the crucial change here is all about the focus. The old model guaranteed 100 days of work, sure, but it was mostly just simple wage support. The new model, it bumps that up, but here's the game changer. It says that the work has to create what are called productive assets. So think about it like this. Instead of just, say, digging a ditch for a day's pay, the community might be building a small dam for irrigation or a road to connect their village to the main market. Suddenly, the work isn't just for a paycheck. It's a direct investment in the village's own future. So, the big question is it working? Well, this number is pretty telling. A 53% drop in demand for this guaranteed work since the peak of the pandemic. That suggests a really powerful trend is underway. As villages build up these productive assets, their own local economies get stronger, they get more resilient, people are finding better opportunities, which means this program is becoming less of a last resort and more of a strategic tool for growth. And that brings us to our third and maybe the most important driver of all. This is the philosophy that really ties everything we've talked about together. It's a fundamental shift in the relationship between the government and its citizens, a move away from a model where people are just, well, passive recipients of aid. The key concept here has a name, Jan Bhagidari. Now that literally translates to public participation, but the idea goes so much deeper than that.
It's about shifting from seeing citizens as just participants in some government program to seeing them as true partners. The core idea is simple but powerful. Lasting development isn't something the government delivers to people, it's something it creates with them.
So what does that look like on the ground? Well, first, it means mobilizing millions of women into what are called self-help groups. You can think of these like local microfinance hubs. They pool their savings, they give out loans for small businesses, basically turning social trust into real economic power. Second, any development plans for a village now have to come from the bottom up. They're decided by the community itself. And third, communities are being given direct control over their local resources, whether that's a water body or the village lands. And this ambition isn't some vague, fuzzy goal. There's a very specific, measurable target. Create 3 crore, that's 30 million, Lakpati Didis. And that's a name for women in these self-help groups who earn over 100,000 rupees a year. It takes this big idea of community empowerment and makes it incredibly tangible, something you can actually track. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. What we've really seen is that this isn't about one single policy. It's a 3-part strategy where everything works together to power this incredible drop in poverty. So here's the blueprint in a nutshell. First, make farms more valuable by diversifying into high-value stuff. Second, make rural work more productive by focusing that work on creating community assets that pay off in the long run. And third, make citizens active partners in their own development journey. You can really see how each part strengthens the others, creating this powerful cycle of growth. And all of this leaves us with a final, pretty powerful question. We've seen how this combination of valuable agriculture, productive community work, and deep local partnership has driven such a massive change in India. So the question is, could this model, this idea of hyperlocal empowerment, become a new blueprint for how we fight poverty all around the world? It's a fascinating thought to end on for sure.